everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Joviana Palacio, but you can call me Jojo. If you are not, welcome back. Thank you for coming to my channel where we talk about all things beauty, not just makeup. Today we're going to do a mini tutorial slash mini review session on this look right here, but I did use a lot of new products. Specifically from one brand. It is Makeup Revolution. So to create this look, I used this guy right here. It honestly surprised me. It performed really well. I'm not going to say too much in the intro because number one, I want to keep it short. Number two, I want you to watch the video. Keep watching. Don't play me. Don't play me. This is a really good, inexpensive palette. This guy was $8. I got it on sale at Ulta. I don't believe it's much more expensive than that. I think it was like 10 or 12 originally, but I got it for $8. And it was well worth it. I didn't even play with all of it. I just kind of dabbled into a few colors, warm tones obviously. But I will definitely be playing with these again in the near future. And then I also tried their foundation and concealer. I go into detail as far as how to apply it, what I felt like it applied with best, how I liked it. I do talk a little bit about the color range just because I had such a hard time finding my color. It was ridiculous. However, now that it is on first impressions, I will tell you in the video and at the end of the video. I believe these guys retail for $12 each, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe this is a little more than the concealer, but I am going to stop rambling and mumbling and I'm going to get into this because I want you guys to see this foundation in action. Mini little kind of insert before we do though. I do plan on doing a lot more reviews on foundation. During my Instagram stories a couple of weeks ago, I did ask what you guys thought was the biggest challenge for you as far as makeup goes. And a lot of you guys had the same concerns, which were foundation, picking the right concealer, and lashes. So I heard you guys, I heard you loud and clear. And we are going to be doing a combination of YouTube videos and Instagram stories so that we can kind of go over these things in detail and I can help you out because that's what I'm here for. We are here to talk about all things beauty, all encompassing, but I want you guys to learn. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button. I upload videos on this YouTube channel every Wednesday and every Saturday. And look me up on Instagram, it's Jojo Palacio, so that we can be a little more interactive and you guys can see all behind the scenes. And let's stop rambling. Let's get into this video. Okay guys, so we're gonna get started with this eye look here. Whoa, Jovi, who are we with the swing today? I don't know, I was just feeling the wing. So we are gonna start with this guy. I am actually doing a mini review on this. This is a Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palette. It's called Reloaded Velvet Rose. It is a really pretty palette. I obviously went for the warm tones first, but you've got a really good variety of tones here. So this is it right here. We are playing in this area right here, but like this could easily be like so pretty. And then of course there's like this black gray tone that's nice for smoking things out and like deepening up a little bit, but nonetheless, let's get started. So I've already put some primer. I use my Urban Decay primer on that eyelid. What I'm going to do is take a nice fluffy brush and this eyeshadow in the very corner here, this guy, and I'm going to apply that all over the lid. I will say after having done the other eye off camera, there is a lot of fallout in the pan for this eyeshadow palette. However, if you dust things off, there is very minimal fallout on your actual face and the eyelid. So I will say just always dust off before you go into using the shade. But like I keep having to, because there's so much fallout on the pan. I did like the blendability. I did like the pigment of these colors. As you will see, there's so much fallout on my desk. So anyways, we're gonna move on to a nice big fluffy brush. This is the JH30, and I'm gonna take this color right here. So this color is like our usual crease color. It doesn't have a lot of, I don't want to say pigment because it is pretty pigmented for what it is, but it is not going to show up as much like on my skin tone, on your skin tone. It's going to be a very light yellow orangey tone, but trust me guys, you need colors like this in your crease area to help you blow colors out and create a good blend. Don't be stingy, don't be cheap. Take your time with this part. It's very important that you truly blow this up. like you would any other color. So I'm taking large circular motions and we're working it from the outer corner all the way back. So next what we're gonna do is go down a brush size. This is the JH33. And we're gonna take the color right underneath there, this guy right here. And we're gonna blend that in a halo type of format. And so to me what that means is just blending it in the outer corner, working it up pretty high on the crease, and then blending it into the inner corner, leaving the center of the lid pretty open. You want to go in on this color, take your time with it, make sure that you're building up as you go. Halo eyes, although you can do a lot of the cleaning up with the primer once we go back onto the lid for the center color, you just want to make sure that you're taking your time with the blend. Very light pressure, very light strokes, especially when you're coming up here. And that's where that first shade that we use really comes in handy, because that shade's going to help that blending. Alright, so once you've blended that out, we're going to go into this color right here, which is just a little deeper of a burnt orange than what we were using. And so we're going to just build that up using a JH34, which has got more of a pointier tip, more of a tapered end to it. So we're just going to pack that into the outer corner and into the inner corner, being a little more precise than before. We really do just want to make sure that the outer and inner corner are the deepest, blending into a very slight faded point towards the top here. These colors are really easy to blend out, really easy to build up. I haven't had any issues with them so far. I really like it. Okay, so once we get to that point, we're gonna go into the carving out part, but it's gonna be super simple this time. So you're gonna take your Urban Decay eyeshadow primer and a nice flat brush. We're gonna just build that onto the actual brush. We're not putting it on our lids. And I'm just going to place that exactly where I feel like that spotlight should be. And you can just very lightly work that and pat that into place. And I wanna drag it up, like I want it to go into that crease area. Just like that. So it's gonna work its way up and kind of fade into the crease so that it's the center. And the next thing that we're gonna do is actually go into a more fluffy, still a stiff flat brush. This is JH41. And what we're gonna do first is go into this bottom gold color down here. This has a little more color to it, a little more pigment, so it's a nice base for the other gold that you see in the palette there. That one's a little chunkier of glitter. And I noticed that when I was applying it on this eye, it took a little bit to build that color. So we're just gonna lay down some foundation, some color, a good base. Don't get me wrong, this color is pretty on its own, but I just needed a little more. All right, so we laid that down. It's already starting to brighten things up, but I'm gonna turn the brush over and I'm actually gonna pick up some of this guy right here. Major fallout with that guy, so be careful. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a little bit of a spray to help kind of bring that to life a little. You can use a setting spray, you can use your all-nighter, you can use MAC Fix Plus, whatever you got, just to kind of help it adhere a little better to the lid, help the color, the shine just kind of come out more. And look at how much bolder that is with that gold over it. It's so pretty. What I'm doing here is just kind of packing and building into place, swiping. You don't need to do any blending, no circular motions, just kind of swipe and pat into place. Love it. So we're gonna move things right along. We're actually gonna go into this winged liner situation that I have going on, but what I did first is I like to make sure that when I'm wearing such a heavy wing, I tightline and I make sure to really deepen up my lash line. So what I did to do that is use this guy right here. This is Sephora Complexion eyeliner brush. It's a waterproof brush. It does not transfer, it doesn't move. It's even got a smudging sponge at the bottom of it. This also has a sharpener so you can get like a nice fine point. We don't need that. I really do like the size of this liner brush on its own, so I'm just gonna go ahead and wiggle that very close to my lash line. And I'm gonna take my Stila liquid eyeliner next. This has to be my all-time favorite liquid eyeliner to help me wing out. Like, it's nice and black. The brush tip itself is just the right size. So I'm gonna take this guy here and we are going to wing it out. I like to start in the center, just so I can kind of gauge the thickness of my liner. And once I've got the thickness of the liner down, again, we're gonna go in and kind of mix it a little I like to just do the wing, and I like to keep it pretty similar to my other side, so I just will take a minute to like compare and make sure we are going straight out and not one like funky, you know? Pray for me. Alright guys, it's the best that I can do. It's the best that I can do. Same thickness, I feel like. Alright guys, so we're gonna get to the complexion. I am using the foundation and concealer from Makeup Revolution, and these guys are, I didn't realize they were different at the time, but they're different. So this is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. It is a liquid foundation. It has an applicator, which is interesting, but I do believe this has a matte finish. So this is what it looks like. I should have probably opened it before filming, but that's okay. We have 0.08 fluid ounces. This foundation was $12 at Ulta. Sorry for the noise. Sorry about that. And then I'm also using the Makeup Revolution concealer. This is a conceal and hydrate. And then they have a conceal and define just like the foundation. This is more of a radiant concealer, and it has hyaluronic acid in it. It's medium to full coverage. And so this also has an applicator. It's a little thicker of an applicator. I like that. You know that I love my e.l.f. one for that. I like my L'Oreal one for that. And I also like my Too Faced one because it's got a nice chunky applicator, which means more product comes out all at once, and we don't have to re-dip and waste product. So this one also has a nice applicator. I like that. I like placing things down and then blending them out, as you guys know. So I am F7, or I don't know if I'm F7, but I got F7 in that. And then I also got C7 in the concealer. So let's get started. I'm gonna go with some Old Faithful products. This is the Dr. Brandt Pores No More. I like to use this in the center of my face. It helps blur, it helps mattify. I love it for that. My pores, I feel like, are a little larger in those areas. And honestly, if you're someone who's got texture or you've got scarring and the texture has been caused because of acne and stuff, try this primer. I am telling you people, it is so good. For the outer perimeter of my face, I'm going to go into the Urban Decay All Nighter. I have been loving the way that my foundation stays on with this guy. So I'm going to apply that everywhere where I did not apply my Dr. Brandt, and I might apply it everywhere. Who knows? I can do what I want. Alright, cool. So we're going to put that on the skin, and we're going to go right into the foundation. So I'm going to use F7. I have not tried this foundation. I don't know if it's my color, but we're going to make it work. So I'm just going to, whew, it's a little pale. It's alright, we're going to make it work. So I'm just going to apply that. What I'm going to do is just try to use up what's on this applicator by just kind of painting it on. And we'll see how I feel. So this is Morphe JH03, and we're just going to blend that in. Right off the bat, I really like how that is looking. The finish of it is not super matte, but it is not a satin finish either. Like, it's definitely matte, but not like an awkward matte. So to build it up, I'm just gonna take, oh, I'm gonna make a mess apparently. I'm gonna take some on the back of my hand. Maybe I don't like the fact that this has an applicator. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the applicator part of it, but I'm gonna build up using a sponge. Areas for me where I usually need a little more coverage are around the mouth and the chin. Either way that you work this foundation, whether with a brush or a sponge, it honestly looks pretty good. It's not my favorite matte foundation. Like, I wouldn't go trading it in for one of my other matte foundations, but it's okay. Maybe I just need to like get the right color. That might help me. But anyways, we're gonna go in and cream bronze, thank God. So I'm gonna use my medium tan flex foundation stick by Milk to give myself some color. I will say this as I'm blending this out, the color range was not the best for this foundation. I mean, it was a $13, $12 foundation, but still, like, it wasn't the best color range. I had the hardest time. I think it must have taken me, and I'm usually like a pretty good, I'll go for a neutral beige, natural beige, something like that, and it was just so difficult to differentiate the colors that it took me maybe 30 minutes sitting there like going back and forth. It was awful. As always, I'm gonna go back in and just kind of work that into the skin using my sponge. You guys still haven't gone to Burlington to get the sponge, I need you to stop sleeping on it and go find you a jar of sponges because it was insane. It's amazing. It is amazing. This sponge has really, truly shocked me. We're gonna move on next to concealing, and I actually only picked up one color for concealing. This is the C7. So this concealer is a hydrating, radiant concealer. It is said to have hyaluronic acid. It makes me a little nervous. So with the camo concealer, I said do not let it sit there for a minute. This one I might let it sit for a quick second before I go into blending it because of the fact that it is a radiant concealer. And again, with my philosophy on concealing, just try to use whatever is on the wand. These actually have like a little swoop part in the applicator that help to like collect product so that you can continue to build as you go. So keep that in mind when you're using this concealer. And a lot of concealers have gone to doing that. I know that the Too Faced concealer, the multi-sculpting one, has something similar to that, like a diamond shape in it to help it collect product. So I'm gonna lay it down in all the huge areas. I would say that this is more of like a highlighting shade for me. I could have used a concealing shade, but we're just gonna go with it. I'm gonna let that sit for just a little bit, very tiny little bit, because I don't want to play myself like I did the other day, you know? I want to say I learned a lesson. Forehead, I usually just leave the under eye area for last. I feel like if I do that, it's easier for me to put powders on without it actually creasing. It doesn't have enough time to crease. This does have the weirdest, well, let's see. Cool, okay. I'll do where the pink could come from. Never mind. I was gonna say it had the weirdest like pinky undertone, but see, so cool, pinky, makes sense. My bad. The other colors just look so dark. And I'd rather have like a peachy pinky undertone to help like brighten and color correct than something like super orange. And I honestly wouldn't say that the concealer is like too creamy, too hydrating. Like, you know how sometimes they don't set and they look like really shiny? This one is not like that at all. We're gonna set everything like we usually do. I'm gonna take my MAC Studio Fix powder in C2 before we bake. And I like this C2 because it also has a little bit of like a coverage factor. So even if the concealer doesn't have a ton of coverage, just remember this powder does too. Although this concealer was pretty good coverage. So I'm gonna go into my Hourglass Mineral Veil powder to set that and kind of bake that in while we go into our eyes. And I like to work that into the skin, guys. As you notice, I'm pouncing and really working the product and I'm not just laying it down. I really like the sponge, the moisture from the sponge to really work into the skin and help melt that powder down a little. The more powder that gets left on your skin, the better it's gonna set throughout the day. Okay, so while that is settling in its place, we are gonna go into the eyeshadow palette and finish up the under eye area. I'm gonna take a Luxie 231 brush and we're gonna go into literally all of the colors that we just finished using for the top part. We're just gonna blend them all together under the eyes. To finish up the lower lash line, what I'm gonna do is actually go back into that Sephora eyeliner. We're using a dark color in our lash line. Who am I? Truly, who am I? So we're gonna use that black. And I'm just gonna do the waterline with the black, connecting it to the actual wing. And so once you do that, I'm actually gonna go into the black that's here. It's like a grayer, it's even got a little bit of glitter in it. It's not like super dark black, which I'm okay with at this point. I'm gonna use a nice stiff brush. This guy is the JH 43, and we're just gonna wiggle that right over where we laid down the liner. So that's gonna help set the liner in place so it doesn't run. Okay, so that very stiff brush does get it and pack the color on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go back into that first Luxie brush and just kind of run over it a little bit so it blends it out. We're gonna go in with some mascara for the lower lash line and just really blow out the mascara, make it nice and thick. It is up to preference, but just want to make sure that you are matching the top lashes to your bottom lashes to your top lashes. Anyways, we're going to go into the complexion and finish it up a little bit. So to dust that off, I'm going to take my Studio Fix in C5.5 and my BH Cosmetics powder buffing brush. That's what I call it. In total reality, it's a V11. We're just gonna blend that out. So this, between the oxidation and the actual face powder, the foundation has truly like become my color. So I honestly don't even know how to recommend you guys match yourself. It is very, very difficult. Although the finish on it, as you guys can tell, is really pretty. We're gonna contour. We're gonna use my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I'm gonna go into my BH Cosmetics contouring brush. And I'm gonna take the first and the last colors to kind of go underneath the Milk Foundation Stick bronzing that we did. And I like to keep those two colors strictly here and in the nose area. I don't like to put them on my forehead because they can look a little dirty and muddy. For the forehead shade, we're gonna go into a fluffier brush, and I'm actually gonna use the center shade of this. And I'm just gonna take that and go over the areas where we just got done bronzing with that milk and blend it down the neck as well. I also like to kind of blend out a little bit of that contouring shade in the cheekbone. Okay, so once we're done with that, we're gonna go into highlighting, and I have been loving this guy as like a nice base for my highlight. This is the Laura Mercier Glow Setting Powder. I love this guy for underneath like a good solid highlight. So what I like to do is I actually took out way too much. I like to work off of the lid because this guy can be potent. And I'm gonna use the brush that it recommends you use it with. So I'm gonna just pack that into the brush here, dust off a lot, and work that into this area right here. It is like the illuminating, building up, really warming up from the skin type of highlight. So I love that. And then for highlighting today, we're gonna go back into this guy here, and we're gonna just mix up a ton of the shades there besides the dark one. I just like to kind of play with the shades. I love the gold undertone. Skylight has a very cool undertone to it, so it just gives her a very popping, very eye-catching highlight. And for blush today, we're gonna go into this guy right here. This is the Blushing in Bali BH Cosmetics Blush and Highlight Palette. I'm gonna take Coral and Lychee, mostly Coral, just so it can kind of stay a peachy type of tone, pinky peachy, and I'm gonna just keep that right on the cheekbones, more towards the back. I prefer it to be a little more towards the back because it just lifts my face a little, like it creates that defined cheekbone, but you do with your face shape as you please. Let me put some setting spray on. I'm gonna use my Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. Alright, so let me do my hair, get changed, and I'll be right back to do our outro. Okay guys, so this is the finished look right here. I topped everything off, like I said, with some all-nighter, and then my lips, I did like an ombre type of situation to go with the eyes. And I used the LA Girl lip liner in Sugar and Spice, which has to be one of my favorites. Like I've already gone through a whole one. Not really, but you know what I mean. And then I used the Sephora Collection lip in 22. I've always loved Sephora Collection lips. Clients come into the store and they ask me what is my favorite matte liquid lipstick. It's not sticky, not drying, but that wears really well. Sephora Collection 100%. And then I topped it off with a little gloss moment since my hair is gonna be up and out of the way. Because we're doing that pony. We're doing that pony life. I'm telling y'all, this is a whole phase. I'm in a vibe. I love Sarai ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip in Glass Lip. So I really did like the moment. You know, I'm a nude girl at heart, so that totally topped it off. Plus we went so intense on the eyes that I felt like a nude lip was necessary. Ooh, what are you doing? Let me fix that. But get a little closer. What do you guys think? I hope you liked it. I know it's very different from what I usually do on my channel, but I'm gonna try to be different this year. This year is 2020, JoJo 2020. We're gonna do this. So I hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, do not forget to hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe because I do post every Wednesday and every Saturday, every single week. Plus, look me up on Instagram. It is Jojo Palacio, where I do IGTV stories. It's so much more interactive. I am so grateful that you guys stopped in, and I will see you guys next time.